All right, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining me for our masterclass today. We are talking about aligning purpose with profit, scaling your soul-led business. Now, this doesn't also have to be all about scaling because if you're in business at all, making any sales, you're scaling, right? One to two sales is scaling, right? $10 a month to $100 a month is scaling, right? It's just about momentum and getting things into practice. So I'm hoping that the word scaling didn't scare people off, but it's important to talk about how we're going to do something. If you don't know who I am, my name is Camille Miller, and I am a business and life strategist, and I help logically brained people find purpose in their soul-led businesses. So I am the founder of the Soul Professional Movement and the Soul Professional brand, which also has a school. And a soul professional, now we're leaning hard into this new marketing, is really a lifestyle as much as it is who we are in the world, right? It's about bringing our gifts to the world, being a good global citizen, helping each other rise, basically being a good human, right? And wanting to bring our gifts to the world because it's about purpose and impact. We say a soul professional is someone who lives in a higher vibration, has an alternative approach to business, and is here to help repair the world. So if that's you, I'm really happy that you are here on our masterclass. These are the fourth Thursday of every single month. I think around Christmas and Thanksgiving. We do it on the third Thursday, but you can look at that in our calendar. And they are all recorded for our YouTube channel. So if you're here following us on YouTube, thank you for that. If you subscribe, you will get all of these. Um, and I'm happy to answer any questions live. So let's get started. First, I always like to ask why people wanted to show up today. Like, what in the title made you say, I think I'll go to this class? I know some of you come to all of my classes, and thank you for that. I do love that. But if there was something specific you wanted answered, put it in the chat because it helps me just, think about what I'm going to talk about today. All right. Aligning purpose with profit. Yeah, that's a big one, right? Um, so our tagline is purpose beyond profit. And when we trademarked the word soul professional, that was a big part of it because I believe that when you are in alignment with who you are and you know what your purpose is in this world, the profit naturally finds you, right? When you're showing up in all of your energy and your light is shining so bright, the money comes too, right? I know, especially this summer, I hear it from a lot of my clients. Some things have been slowing down, especially in the US. People are from all over the world. We're actually in 30 countries now. Um, but things have been slowing down in the US, and that's okay, right? If we start to lean into this scarcity or I'm scared energy, that starts to lower our vibration, right? But if we start to lean into who can I help today, right? How can I serve more people? How can I show up? I'm looking at my own things like, is there a program that I can put out there right now? I'm looking at a couple of things. Like I used to do a money boot camp, all about money and the mindset of money. I was like, do I bring that back? Is that what people need right now? And it's really listening to your audience of what they need. I caution you to create from a place of scarcity because money's not coming in. And I caution you to create without the audience asking if they actually want that, right? Because you don't want to create and then try to fit your audience into the box. You want to ask your community and your audience, what do you need right now? And does this work? Right. So I'm in between the two places of do I bring back my money boot camp? Is that what people need right now? Or actually do I just talk about business because business strategy is my thing? Like maybe I do a group program for like 6 weeks at a very low cost, and I just start helping people with their strategy and where they're stuck right now. That might be it. I don't really know. I'm kind of playing with it in my head of what people need right now. I have people coming in, so sorry. The money boot camp would be great. Oh, both of you, money boot camp. Okay. I did that in 2020. I've done it a couple times. So okay, maybe that would be it. It's been in the back of my head. I haven't done it in years, but I literally keep the text next to me all the time. It's cool. I use this as the text, Overcoming Under Earning with by Barbara Stanny. It's not the whole program, obviously, but we use a lot of that work because it's so good. Oh, my camera just went. Um, all right, I have someone like stuck in the waiting room and they keep coming in. All right. I don't know what happened to my camera. Hold on. There we go. All right. Sometimes it's because I'm backlit. All right. Let me jump into the masterclass outline. So I don't always follow the outline, so sometimes I have to stop. Um, all right. I talked about aligning your purpose. So I want to say that this is not about hustling harder, right? It's about building wealth and impact in alignment with who you are. But it is not about do, right? If you feel like the resistance or you're putting out too much or it doesn't feel right for you, then you're not in alignment. And I think that is really, really important as we talk about scaling, right? You do have to do some things. So when I work with very spiritual people, and they all are, you wouldn't be here. It is not when we talk about being in flow, when we talk about being in alignment, it's not, I'm going to sit on my couch and see what shows up for me. That is not it, right? We still need action steps, right? We still need to show up. We still need to network. We still need to have programs. We still need to have some type of funnel, even if it's a personal funnel or an automated funnel. Like you still need things that make business work, right? We can't just sit on the couch and say, I hope someone knocks on my door. That is not going to happen. So we still need things that are going to work. But it is supposed to be easier for you. So maybe it's an online course. I have a couple online courses. I'm going to tell you about one at the end. And I've had them for a long time. And I was like, maybe I just need to drop these and throw them out there a little bit harder. Maybe that's what I need right now. And it's passive, right? So we can't always trade our time for money. So if you're running out of one-on-one spots or you're like, hey, I don't want to work this much, maybe the one-on-one is not what you need. It's another package, right? As I do less one-on-ones, I just make them more expensive and I do more groups. I like a hybrid model, which is kind of half group, half one-on-ones. That's where I see the most impact with my people. So then I start to perfect that. If you've some of you have been in my business accelerator, that's what that is. It's a hybrid. I teach the basic concepts as a group, and then I meet people one-on-one to implement. That's what works for me. As it gets busier and busier, I know I can't do that anymore. So then I have to look for a different model, right? That's part of scaling, but still staying in alignment. It's not me working 2, 3 times, 4 times harder, right? It's like, what can I create that's passive and that works? I used to have a membership for those of you that were in it for 10 years. And I had masterminds twice a month. I had a coffee with Camille once a month. I still did my master classes. I still did networking. I was showing up all the time and it was only me. And that model stopped working for me after 10 years. I was like, I just don't have the time and the energy to do this. So how can I create it differently? And I am in this thought process of how can I still serve people, but create it differently so it's in alignment with where I am today, right? Because I've grown over 10 years. And it might look like, and plus I'm in all different time zones now, which is a very different model than me showing up. So just even if I wanted to show up, not everyone can show up at the exact same time all over the world, right? So my model has to change. So it's about how do I show up? Maybe it's creating a video and then having office hours or answering people's questions or doing something like that. I don't know what it looks like yet. These are just things that I'm thinking about as I start to scale, and that's the idea, right? My next point I have is the myth of purpose versus profit. A lot of people feel, and I used to have a whole podcast for 9 seasons called Six Figure Souls Doing Good and Making Money. And making money. Because there's a common misconception out there that you can either do good or make money. And many times people are like, well, I'm just going to keep my price really low so more people come in. And what happens is they keep their price really low, but more people do not come in, right? It doesn't work. It doesn't equate that way. So you do have to charge what you're worth. And if you've been doing what you've been doing for a long period of time, we need to increase your prices, right? A lot of you come to me, and if we're doing like an individual strategy session, I'm going to ask you, what are your prices? How long have you had them? What are your testimonials? What are you getting from other people? Because once you have that value, sometimes it's just increasing your prices and you can increase your bottom line by 20%, 25%, whatever that looks like for you, depending on where it is. But the point is that you are valuable. Your knowledge is worth money. And the longer you've been in it, the more you should be charging if you have the results. I want to say that. There's a lot of coaches out there. They're just like, just raise your prices. It'll be fine. You'll make the money. That is not true. You can't just raise prices if you don't have the track record for that to make sense. You have to have the client wins and the testimonials and proof that you're really doing what you're doing in the world, right? When I started out, I charged probably a third of what I charge today. But now I have the testimonials. I've, built a lot of businesses for other people. And my time is more valuable because I do less and less one-on-ones. I do very few of them. So that is a part of it. But you can charge what you're worth, and you can make money doing anything you want in this world, right? Profit is your fuel for your purpose, right? Without financial sustainability, your mission really can't thrive, right? My mission is to help others get their gifts to the world. That's it. Most of my people are solo entrepreneurs. Many people are making under 100,000. Almost everyone's making under 1 million, even the bigger companies I work with, right? But they're doing great work in the world. So I want them to get it out there, right? So you have to have financial sustainability and stability to keep your mission going, to keep helping all of those people. And there's a lot of outdated business models out there, right? It's about hustle, competition, revenue first. But in soul-led entrepreneurship, the business model is still very important, but we don't have to sell from a place of scarcity. If you've ever been a client of mine, I will only work with people that are a hell yes. I do not force convert. I do not try to talk you into anything, because when you are a hell yes, you'll come over and you'll do the work and you'll be my greatest raving fan. But if I'm talking you into it and you're not ready for that type of work, you're not going to be a raving fan, right? So I only work with the hell yes, right? It's not about, I need the money today, let me close you. It's more about, how can I meet you where you are and we can get this work done together, right? If it's creating a different package for people, I've done that. I've been very creative to help people the way I can. Not disvaluing myself or undervaluing myself and not undervaluing the client, right? Um, it's called authentic success, right? My authentic success framework, which is building on values and alignment. So when I'm working with a client, we're also talking about your core values. Your core values when you're setting up a business. It's your mission statement, it's your purpose, but it's your core values. Mine is belongingness, it's safety. I actually have six of them. Purpose driven, authenticity, innovation. I talk about boundless freedom, but it's actually not a core value in my business. But those are the things that you want to stick to. You never want to compromise what you're building. I just want to pause for 1 second. Are there any questions? Let me just read this real. My inner circle would come to your money boot camp. All right, Kim, maybe we'll bring that along. Please share the title of the book again. Thanks. It's Barbara Stanny, and it's Overcoming Under Earning. This is what I run my boot camp. This is actually only a third of my boot camp, but I like the stuff in here. And for those of you, she also writes this book, Sacred Success. I keep both of them on my desk, and they've probably been here for 5 years. It's a course in financial miracles, really, really good. And I do incorporate this book into the Money Boot Camp, but you don't have to buy this book. I make it buy the other one. That, and I also do biology of belief because mindset is a big part of that boot camp too, which we'll talk about. Hi, I'm transcribing this call with my, okay. All right. Any questions? If you have questions, either raise your hands or, put it in the chat. Is this all making sense? Do you see how we're scaling in alignment with who we are? Yes, some nods. Yes. Okay. If I'm totally off base, you can write that too. All right. The next thing I really want to talk about is the core pillars of a soul-led and profitable business. And we'll break this into three focus areas just for discussion. And if you guys want to discuss this, it will be a lot easier. Clarity of purpose and vision. And it's defining your unique genius and alignment within the market and what it needs, right? All of you should know and should be able to write down one sentence that captures who you serve and why. And I would love to see that in the chat if you'd like to share. Who do you serve and why? And let me tell you why clarity of purpose and vision is really, really important. And defining your unique genius. Because if you just say, hey, I'm a business coach, right? If I came out here and said, I'm a business coach, there are thousands, more than thousands, right? Hundreds of thousands of people that are business coaches, right? I am a business strategist. I'm a life strategist. And lots of times I say I'm a business and life strategist, but I specialize in reinvention, right? That is part of my uniqueness. I have a very narrow focus of reinvention with midlife professionals. Although people are changing where midlife is. I just brought on a client. She's like, I didn't want to admit that I was actually midlife. And I was like, I never asked your name, your age, so it doesn't really matter. But, and the reason we have to become more focused is because that way we can talk about the transformation and what we're providing, right? I'm an MBA. There are so many MBAs out there. Is it one qualifier? It's one, right? But I also need to say I work with logically brained and soul-led individuals, right? Narrows it down a little bit more. I used to say I work between ages of like 48 to 62, but actually now I'm going down into the 30s that people are showing up. And I think it's because people aren't going into corporate jobs anymore, right? They're just coming out, they're creatives, and they're like, this is what I'm going to do. So I have to look and say, well, who am I serving, right? What changes? And it's really narrowing down our unique genius in the world, right? I'm very intuitive. Spirit speaks to me when I'm in session with people, right? I used to not tell people that. I just had these knowings. But now I share it. I'm always like, hey, I'm getting a message. Is it okay? Or, hey, can I pull a card? Can I do readings? It becomes more and more, right? That is part of my unique genius. When I see people, I have, especially in my containers, when I'm holding space for a single client is different than a group. But when I'm with a single client, it's almost like I'm shown like the map of their business, where they're going, what they're capable of. I'm getting messages as a part of it. And that's unique, right? When you think of all the people that graduate from medical school or all the people that graduate from law school, right? Also MBAs, right? We all have the exact same education. But when you're looking for a doctor or a lawyer or a business coach, you're looking for something very specific that resonates with you. That's called their energy, right? You know, in a moment, I don't know what it is, but I just resonate with this person, right? So we're all educated the same way, but we are uniquely different from every single other person. So when someone is looking for the service, they have to know that you are the only one that can provide it. Does that make sense? Your marketing and the way you talk about yourself and your skills that you bring to the world have to be so unique that they're like, yes, that's the person I want to work with. That's it. And a lot of times looking up your competition helps because I say, how do I differentiate? How do I differentiate? Right? In my accelerator, I make people pull up competition so we can say, is that you or not you? Because you can say, hey, I know a lot of business strategists that I am not. And I can say, this person would serve you better than I can serve you, especially if you're not spiritually led, right? I'm probably not your person. I don't do product, right? I do mostly people that have Zoom led businesses and that have global markets and audiences. But if you're not that, I don't do brick and mortar anymore. I can say, that's really not my sweet spot. So let me see who else I can introduce you to. All right, I just want to read these a little bit. Okay, my core values is integrity, action, ownership, communication, mindful pause. I love that. I help high achieving entrepreneurs and executives turn burnout into clarity by aligning mindset, strategy, and systems so they can confidently scale, attract right fit clients, and make money while they sleep. Love that. Your peeps are my peeps. Yes. I will tell you that many of the people here, we are all each other's peeps. That's why we call it the Soul Professional. We all work with the same people. Jose, home service based companies, they miss lots of calls and lose lots of opportunities. Okay. And Bev, I help spiritual, heart-centered entrepreneurs get maximum credibility and visibility online because I want to help them heal the world with their gifts and message. Beautiful. Okay. So when we talk about, I'm just putting this out there because this isn't really a marketing class, but when we talk about who we are and your unique genius, you want to have that in there, right? What differentiates you from everybody else in the world? And the transformation your client receives. So when you're out there talking about things, I just started doing on LinkedIn, if you follow me on LinkedIn, and I do it on Facebook too, but I do it my Wednesday wins. I talk about client wins so people can see the transformation my clients are having, right? Because it's really hard in your marketing to explain what I do. So showing the transformation, this is where they came in, this is what we worked on, this is what they're doing now, right? So showing that transformation is a big part of it. All right. Number two of my pillars are aligned offers and business models. So, how to move beyond your time for money traps, designing scalable, purpose-driven offers. It could be courses, it could be memberships, it could be masterminds, it could be retreats. I'm seeing a lot of retreats lately. Case study examples from your clients and communities. And this is showing again the transformation, right? Case studies and examples. But we want to move from your time money traps, which we talk about. If you're doing a lot of one-on-one work, there's only so many hours in the day that you can continue to do one-on-one work, right? So eventually you have to either do a membership or a continuous course, like my accelerator I run like 3 times a year. A mastermind, most of the time after people work with me, they'll go into a higher end mastermind. So then you're working with groups of people, right? Or you have an online course, and that's passive, right? People can experience you and your great work in the world through an online course, and it's passive. It's not taking more of your time. So we have to start to look at ideas that aren't taking more of your time. Does that make sense? I know it's hard to think about things, especially when you want to give so much of yourself. It's how do you still maximize your time with people and your expertise, but not your own personal time, right? And that's why we talk about, increasing your prices if you're doing one-on-one work, but to also do high volume group work. I don't do big groups like 30, 40, 100 people. I don't do that. I don't like the energy of it. Does it mean I never will? I don't know, but I haven't mastered it yet, and I don't actually like doing it. So I tend to do smaller groups. You'll pay more for it, but you'll get my attention. And that's what I like, right? That keeps me in alignment. Having a bunch of people, hundreds of people following me at a low price doesn't really light me up inside, doesn't make my heart sing, right? I'd rather work with 10 people that I know their business, I know them as a person, and I can give them very good advice on something to tweak or move in on, right? That's what I prefer. So you have to set up your business in a way that makes sense to you. Any questions or anything on that before I go to the third point? Everything's good? You can always put them in the chat too. All right. The third point of these core pillars is mindset and subconscious alignment. So you could have the perfect strategy and the most amazing courses and be so good at what you do. But if you don't believe in yourself and you don't believe that you are deserving and you don't believe all of these other things, right? You can't create a lot of money and you're not going to be able to scale, right? And a lot of times, if your mindset isn't right and your subconscious isn't in alignment, you aren't able to be sustainable. That's the biggest part. Like you'll maybe launch something and you'll get a few people and then you'll wait to the end and then you'll have no more money. Then you got to launch something else or you keep changing or you fail to believe that you are amazing. And every single one of you are amazing because I only attract amazing people. So I already know that about you, right? And I know that already that you are good at what you do, right? When I work with clients, I don't teach them what to do. I teach them their business strategy so more people can benefit from their work in the world, right? One of the mindset tools that I use is Psyche, which is a way to shift your mindset around anything. So it's like going into your subconscious, clearing up this file that keeps telling you that you're not good enough, that you can only earn so much money or your worth is only so much. We all have what we call earning ceilings. And sometimes with clients, as they start to scale, I have to move that earning ceiling, right? So if you're coming to me and you're like, this happened with another client, I can't break 100,000 was hers. It was 115, it was 100, it was 120. Like she just couldn't get out of the same cycle year after year, no matter what happened. She came to me and I was like, well, let's test in your subconscious. I do muscle testing. Where is your earning ceiling? And that was what her body believed that she was worthy of was right around there. So that's what we couldn't move it, right? I was like, it doesn't matter what you do because your body doesn't believe it. So let's start moving your earning ceiling. And we were able to move her earning ceiling to 3 million. Not everyone moves that high. Or we come up against it again, which is very, very common when people scale, by the way. It happens to me too. Every time we scale, something happens, we have an earning ceiling of what our body believes. But as soon as we were able to raise that, we were able to start to work on the structure and other mindset. All right. So your mindset comes around your pricing. Are you worthy of it? Right. Your mindset could be when you get money, maybe you don't know what to do with it. We do actually a lot of that mindset work in the boot camp. It could be things that you've been told as a child, right? That's what a lot of where our subconscious is built, right? So with scaling or business, your alignment with your subconscious is key to you making money. A lot of women have a visibility issue, right? They're like a little scared to be too forward, or I'm bothering people if I send out too many packages, or if I offer things too much, or maybe they won't like me if, right? Very common in our subconscious. So it's not always conscious for you, but you have this wound of, or I've seen this one too. What they call the witch's wound, right? Um, you believe that people will either put you down, or especially when we bring out our spiritual side, our woo-woo, right? All of a sudden you're not credible enough. People won't like that. All the stories we tell each other, there's so many. There are so many, right? But it's usually around self-worth and prosperity, like money, right? Those are the two big ones. And part of scaling and having a business is working on this subconscious mind, right? They both have to work, and it is a never-ending game. I want to put that out there. I still work on myself because what happens is you clear it, but then you hit the new ceiling, right? It happens a lot with people as they start to get sustainable. Sometimes they self-sabotage without realizing it, right? They get a lot of money in, something happens, and they blow it all, right? Or they don't learn to pay off their debt correctly. Or I'm always in debt, I can't get out. And it's that scarcity mind of keep saying it, and that's what your body will start to believe. So it does take work. It took a lot of work to get you to believe some of these limiting beliefs, right? So we have to do the work to work on these inner belief systems to get you out of them. And I always say it's the inner work that creates the outer success. It's the inner work that creates the outer success. You have to work on your subconscious beliefs so you feel worthy enough to keep going and be an entrepreneur. Does that make sense? Any questions, comments, thoughts? You are welcome. Yeah. Subconscious is a big one. It's a big one. Um, all right. I'm reading all of my notes as I go. All right. The next thing I want to talk about, does anyone have any questions or stories or things that they want to share? I want to also have the floor for you guys. And if there's anything that you'd like me to touch on, because I could keep talking. No? Go ahead, Kim.
You're hitting everything right on the head. So I'm a doer. I have been an executive for over 35 years. And lately, and for the last 2.5 years, I've been with coaches, elite coaches that have been push, and it doesn't fit me. But I did learn a lot. And it's wild that you bring all this up because all of the questions I've had, I have people come to me when I need it, right? And it's been people have been coming to me the last week. And I had a session because I had some bad experiences with the woo woo, right?
Yeah.
But I'm spiritual. And I'm saying this just to validate that you answered my question, which was yesterday someone had did a session with me and she had me journal some things, and today I cried when I was journaling them. But then I then had a mastermind where a sales expert came in and told me how to script, which I'm a doer, right? I'm going to follow the script and practice and practice and practice. And I asked her, do you believe that this part of your brain that's the conscious I learned in my experience, I do, and I have learned that I work through it consistently and it works eventually. I kind of like train myself through doing
Yeah, you're breaking
it
in.
and validated the question. You right? You need to understand that, Kim, which is me. Kim, you really need to do the work there in that space, which is the consciousness. There's something going on there that's stopping you. I call myself the Tin Man, or I cover my heart, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So there could be a wound in there. I don't know. Um, it's when a lot of us are moving to this heart-led world and it's difficult, right? It's difficult. So, I want to also put out there that a lot of coaches, a lot of people come to me after they've spent incredible amounts of money with other coaches and things haven't worked, mostly because it hasn't resonated with them. And I said, the reason it's not resonating is because they're trying to get you to follow a formula and they're trying to get everyone in that group to follow a formula. And that's why I don't do large groups because formulas for everyone doesn't work. Now, I do teach basic business principles that have to be structured to run a business in this world, right? You have to understand money flow and packages and pricing and messages and branding and all of that, right? That is basic. But your business has to be in alignment with who you are. So if you don't like doing videos, don't do videos. If you don't like doing social media, don't do social media, right? A lot of my people are introverts too. Many spiritual people are introverts because they don't need outside validation. But how do we work in a world like that, right? I don't do a lot of social media, but I do show up and I have a lot of one-on-ones and a lot of conversations. And I do work to get into bigger rooms of where I'm supposed to be, right? And that's why I work individually with so many people to ask, how does this feel? Right? We don't just create a structure, it's how does this feel? And I always start with like, if you were to win the lottery today, what would you do tomorrow? Because then you're telling me what you want your life to look like, right? If you want to travel, we put that in there. If you only want to work 2 days a week, we put that in there, right? If you don't like one-on-ones, we put that in there. You want a membership, we put that in there. Like, and we work through, and I question you all along the way. Why? Why? What does this feel like to you? And I have a lot of clients coming back now that we did business strategies 2, 3 years ago that worked great that aren't working right now, and including my own strategies I've had to change because the world has changed. What people want has changed. So our strategy has to change. And I think it's actually working more in alignment for spiritually led people because it's more about being real and authentic. It's about showing up and showing people who we are in the world and not just saying all the words, right? AI can put together all the posts and all the words, but we actually are sounding more generic than ever before, right? And so many people are leaving corporate jobs and everything else, and they're all becoming coaches and consultants and strategists, and right. So the noise is so loud. So rather than compete, we have to look at a place of how do you stand out differently, right? I always choose not to compete and to stand out differently. So I started this personal newsletter on LinkedIn that people can sign up for. It hits their inbox, but I'm telling every Monday morning I get up and I just write about what's on my mind. And it's a personal look into me and what is happening. It could be anything. Today I wrote about, or this Monday I wrote about midlife is my superpower, right? And how I've learned things along the way. I've talked about my kids, I've talked about my divorce, I've talked about, travel, all sorts of things, right? Because it's a way for people to understand and learn about who I am, right? And I think that's really important because people want to know who you are before they'll work with you today, right? It's not, I'm going to post and put this out there and everyone's going to buy it. It's not going to work anymore. It's not going to work. So you have to look for coaches and people that get you and can work on your mindset wounds or limiting beliefs. We won't call them wounds, right? Limiting beliefs, because we all have them. We all have them. And, pushing harder is not clearing them. It's actually making them worse and making them more deep because you're wondering what's wrong with me, what's wrong with me, what's wrong with me, right? It's working for everyone else. It's just not working for me. Usually it's not working for everybody else, right? And I think social media gives us this false look of people that look so successful, but they're really not. And then we're wounded from it. Does that make sense? So hold on to your uniqueness in the world. We want more of your uniqueness. What makes you so different that people can connect with you? And I always say it's a way of you want to shine your light brighter so more people can see you and say, oh my gosh, that's my person. That's who I want to work with. That's what I want to do. Right? It just feels right. And that's what I'm saying. It's the hell yes mentality, right? People know hell yes. That's it. All right. Hopefully that I don't know if there was a question in there, but all right. Let me see what else I have here. Scaling with integrity and ease. I think I spoke about this quite a bit just throughout this, that it's about being better and being in alignment with who you are, right? Systems that support your lifestyle. So automation, delegation, if you have a VA or something in my scaling with soul clients, we talk about delegation, like when is it time to get a VA? I don't care if it's 5 hours a week. What do you need to get off your plate so you're making more money per hour and in your zone of genius all the time, right? If it's community, like who do you need to surround yourself with? And a big part of it now, I believe in this new age world that we're in, the power of partnerships, collaborations, and soul-aligned networks. I'm assuming everyone here is also a part of our network and you network with us once a month and you're meeting other soul-aligned people that have these global businesses. But partnerships and collaborations are really important. I have what I call power partnerships. I'm partnering up with people that either recommends me. I have one that we just do podcasts. If I'm on podcasts, I tell her about them and I introduce her to the host and she introduced me. And I have gotten on podcasts. Actually, last night I was on one. It's top 1% in the nation. Actually, it's probably more than the nation. I don't know. She told me. But my goal this year that I set for myself was to be on a podcast every single week for the entire year. And I've hit that, right? But I didn't hit it by pitching people. I hit it by asking people how can you help me? Can you introduce me to hosts? Right. And I do a power partnership with someone else and I introduce them to big ones. They introduce me to big ones. And I could pitch all day long and not get anywhere. But when I've asked people for help, that's where I get it. So collaborations are a way to move forward. I think that is really, really important. Creating visibility through authentic storytelling and thought leadership. Um, you should be able to tell stories about your clients and what has worked, right? When I teach, I tell stories, right? Because it helps people resonate, right? When I talk about my other client stories or things that they've gone through, like the earnings ceiling, they're like, oh, that's me too, right? Being really good at just sharing stories and legacy thinking, building something that lasts beyond you. For those of you familiar with my books, my last book was called Leaving Your Legacy. And it is about leaving your legacy in the world. When you are gone, what do you want people to remember about you? Because either way, we are leaving a legacy, right? It could be good, it could be bad, but we might as well do it with intention, right? And it's really about your ripple effect in the world. How many hearts, how many people are you affecting, right? So your work keeps going, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be your name or your brand. If that's what you want, that's fine. You have to build something that lasts that way, right? And think about one area of your business that might feel heavy right now, right? And how can you realign it to feel lighter and feel more authentic? A lot of times people are, I hear it in posting and marketing. Oh, another coach told me to post 3 times a day or do this. Like, if it feels heavy and not in alignment, then don't do it because the energy that you're putting into it is what other people are feeling, right? So when you create from scarcity, people feel the scarcity and they're not going to buy it, right? So it's the energy that you're putting into things. But if it comes from a place of, hey, I got a great idea, and that's how I write my newsletters. I literally sit with a cup of coffee on Monday morning about 7 a.m. and I'm like, what do I feel like writing about today? And I write a 3,000 word article and it posts on Tuesday morning because I always get up the next day and read it, see if I still like it before I post it. But it's authentic and it comes from me and people are learning about who I am. And I think that's better than putting any posts out there. I still do posts, but this is a way that feels authentic to me. And that's what we want to create for you. All right. I know we're coming to the end of our time. So I guess in recap, we just want to say the key lesson today was the purpose and profit are not opposites. They are partners, right? It is following your purpose should create a profit and a sustainable income for you, right? I invite you, if you haven't talked to me, I invite you to book a clarity call anytime. I have a free download of a workbook and ways that you can work with me. Um, are there any questions? No, thank you. All right, I do want to share with you, if I remember how. Look, I just made this. Um, I do want to share with you here um, ways that you can continue after this. This is ways that you can work with me. This first one here is the Psyche Reset and Strategy session. This is working on your subconscious beliefs. It is a single 90-minute session where we talk about your strategy, we talk about your business, and then we clear up any limiting beliefs you might be holding during this time. It is a quick down and dirty to get to know me and my work. The second one is a self-paced class. It is $97. It's usually $297, but I dropped it because I feel like the world needs this right now. It's called From Corporate to Calling, Manifesting the Life and Business of Your Dreams in 15 Minutes a Day. It is a 1 month program. You can take it all at once. I don't recommend it. It should be taken day by day by day. And the whole idea is I open up each day with about a 5 minute video talking about a topic, and I'm bringing you through your thoughts, your dreams, your wants, who you want to help. And we're literally designing a business, doing skills assessment and everything for the full month or the 28 lessons. And you're journaling through that. It is a great, great program. Kim, you had a question? Oh, your hand was up. That's why. Um, I'm going to put this in the chat for you guys. Does it work? No, I don't know why. Um, let me see if I could. Nope, can't do that either. All right. I was going to put these links in the chat. I should have thought about this a little bit better. But here, we'll stop doing this. Oop, I don't know what I just stopped, but I hit a stop button. So let me just throw in the chat ways to work with me. If you loved that idea of the Psyche session, that is a discounted session. You can only do that once. Well, you can do it more than once, but you can't use it as like every single month I'm going to do this with you idea, because it's really a way for people to get used to me. That's the Psyche session and other ways that you can work with me. If you haven't just had a clarity call with me, it is free. We can just talk about what do you want to do in your life? Where do you think you want to go from here? And the other one is the corporate to calling, which I'll put in the chat right now. Copy. And those are those two programs. Of course, there's more, but that's what I feel like is a good starting point for anyone that's been here. I do not have a PayPal option. But if you go through that, I think it's done through Stripe. Of course, I can work out something else with you if you need to. So just reach out to me. I probably have a PayPal. I don't use it because I'm not in love with PayPal, but we can figure something out for you. All right. Any other questions, concerns, thoughts? No? Awesome. Gotcha. You could call me and we can do it. You're not the only one. Not a problem at all. Okay. All right. Well, that's what I got. Next month, we always have these free master classes. This will be on YouTube as soon as we're done. And next month, we are doing using intuition to guide your business decisions, which is always a really fun one. So join me there. We also have networking, and if you're up for it, I run a soul circle the first Monday of every single month where I pull oracle cards and just talk about soulful life and things like that. So that's all I got. Thank you guys for joining me. I am so appreciative to have you in my community. And if I can ever be of service or help, please reach out. You can always get me through my website at soulprofessional.com. And I see everything that goes through. So write to me if you need to get in contact with me. Okay? Have an awesome day, everyone. Bye-bye.